When did you realize your parents shouldn't have had kids? Growing up, my parents only rewarded me and my siblings for one thing, telling on each other. I grew up as the middle child of 4 siblings, the type to be forgotten. It was like I could always see what everyone else was blind to, because even though my parents thought they had us in control, I was the one they were wrong about. You see, my older brother Nate would do anything for daddy's love. One time when me and him were alone in my room together, I accidentally spilled a drop of cranberry juice on the beige carpet. I felt like a deer in headlights. Immediately, I took off my t-shirt, spit on it, and vigorously rubbed it into the material. Nate was already walking down the stairs by the time he realized what was going on. Neil just spilled his juice all over the floor upstairs. He's so clumsy. I didn't hear anything else being said, just the unmistakable sound of my dad's footsteps walking over to the nearest drawer and grabbing what sounded like the black leather whip. I didn't do anything, just lay on my front side on my bed with a pillow in my mouth to stop myself from screaming too loudly. 1, 2, 3. I didn't get dinner that night, and while I spent the next few hours crying into my bedsheets, I could hear Nate downstairs being treated like a king for telling on me. "You are so mature, my handsome boy," my mom said, her voice practically beaming through the house. "I'm so proud of you," our dad bellowed. At the time, I was just 4 years old, while Nate was 6. That same year, our younger twin sisters were born, and that's how I ended up being raised by 5 surveillance cameras. My parents gave them the same treatment they gave me and Nate. They acted like the world's greatest parents until their 3rd birthday, and from there, they'd withhold all affection from them. No nice words, no hugs, nothing, unless they did one thing, start telling on each other. By the time I was 10, I had been wailed on more times than I can count. Not cleaning my room properly, leaving leftover crumbs on my plate, crying too loudly, wearing clothes that showed any indication of my injuries. Meanwhile, my siblings only got it once or twice a year. Because from all the punishment, I learned one thing. It was the last thing I wanted to inflict on my siblings. So even when I caught them doing things, I'd never tell on them. Heck, sometimes I'd even take the blame for it. And in some ways, it paid off. Like Nate and the twins always felt safest around me. But none of them returned the favor. Not once. Because there was something they loved more than me, and that was our parents. Over time, it was clear that I was getting the most amount of punishment. But instead of attributing that to my kindness towards them, or the fact I was simply just a good person, everyone started seeing me as the troublemaker. Suddenly, nothing I did was ever enough. If I snored too loudly and annoyed one of my siblings, my mattress would get taken away for the rest of the week. If I accidentally used Nate's cologne instead of my own, no showering for the next 3 days. By the time I turned 18, my idea of family was so distorted that when I saw loving parents or siblings on TV, I would get angry about how fake it was. I had spent so much of my life simply surviving that when college season finally came, I literally had a GPA of 1.0. But there was one thing I knew with all my heart. There was no way I could spend another second in my home. So when it was time to move out, I paid one of my classmates to let me sleep on the floor of their dorm room. I remember being extremely stressed when his parents came over to visit for Thanksgiving. My heart was pounding for the entire week, and I made sure to be perfect, just as my parents always taught me. So when they came, and I opened the door after they knocked twice instead of once, I closed my eyes super tight to brace myself for what was to come. But instead of beating me senseless, they thanked me for opening so soon. His mom even gave me a hug. For the rest of the night, I was on my best behavior, completely silent, tense, ready to clean.